And then to top it off, just look down, there's no sodding diesel in the thing. I left this with a third of tank of diesel, and now I'm going to have to go and fill it up on the way home. Okay, welcome back. I'm Gavin, this is Spitfire Engineering, and this is episode 67. Okay, so it's Monday afternoon. Let's just get you up to date with where we are with things in the workshop. We've got JMO spray painting in the spray shop at the minute. This is the deck and other bits and pieces that is going to plant works in 2 weeks. So we're having a mini screen on the stand. We're also having a sight bank, not this one, a new one that Steve's building up in the workshop at the minute. So JMO's putting the finishing touches onto that. The frame has already been done. That's next door in the small fab workshop. Box is being painted, as well as some of the greedy boards for the conveyor. So let's have a look and see what else we've got in here. So we've got the frame been done. That box that we've just seen next door, that's going on top of here. And then we've got some greedy boards and different bits and pieces down here that are going to be part of it. We've also got all the IBC stands done as well. They've been finished. They're going to be painted this week as well, and they will be finished. I think we covered them in last week's episode, didn't we? Archie had covered that in last week's episode.
The cross beams that go at the front and the back, and they both have a welded in end piece. So it's just a bit of triangle cut out of 5mm.
So basically it's a company that we do a lot of work for. They've got some IBCs on site, and they're going to sit on top of the frames, and they'll sit at an angle so that they have water in the top for on site. So you can have a tap at the bottom, it's just off the ground, so you can put a bucket underneath, open the tap up, and then the water in the IBC ends up in the bucket. We've got a cement mixer here because when we've done the site bank for the show, we've got to fill it with concrete. Now the last time we did, I think we did 5 last time, we got a concrete truck in for that, but because we've just got the one, it's going to be more cost effective to mix our own concrete and put in there. So that's what we've got that for. That's on hire for this week, so hopefully we can get that concrete in this week. So let's have a look in the main workshop, see what they're doing in there. So as you know, this is our fabrication, our assembly area in this end, and you can see the natural break in the workshop. So once this van's gone, this is actually nearly completed now. The electricians have been in, the gas fitters I think are coming tomorrow to sign off the gas, and then we can secure all the different bits and pieces inside, all the benches, all the appliances, they can be secured in there, and then that's pretty much ready to go. We're just looking for a seal strip that can go around the outside of there. The lads have put some edge protector on it for now, but I'm worried that the water's going to seep in there. So we just need to get a seal that goes around the outside there to stop the water from going inside. But Stuart's taking the racking from the old stores. We had some racking in there with little drawers in it for all nuts and bolts. And because this is going to be an assembly area in that, we want that sort of thing in here so the lads are not having to walk into the old stores to go and fetch nuts and bolts. If you remember last week, we had a meeting about lean and efficiencies in the workshop. So it's all about making sure that wherever we're doing a job, all the things that we need are in the right area for that. And nuts and bolts, obviously, in the assembly area is quite important. But what we've also done, because we've got the natural break in the workshop, I was worried that the lads were going to end up moving the welding screens, and then the welding would encroach this way, or the assembly would encroach that way. So we're going to put these racks here. We're going to put these racks, I think there's 3 of these. They're going to come across the workshop here. and then that'll be a natural break. And then the welding curtains behind, they'll get rearranged so that this will be a natural welding curtain and the other welding curtains will be utilised elsewhere. We're also going to have a walkway over there by the wall. So as we come through from the small, what's now going to be the machine shop, this was quiet in here a minute ago. So as you come through from what will be the machine shop, there'll be a secure walkway down by the wall, and then Rob's welding bay will start away from the wall. There'll be welding curtains along there. So anybody that needs to go from the assembly area through to the stores can go through there without having to go through a welding bay, the chances of arc-eye, that sort of thing. We're going to try and minimise that as much as possible. Let's go see what they're doing. So Rob's made a start today on the secret project. So he's made a start on that today. Hopefully by tomorrow tea time, he'll have that sort of put together and welded up, and then it can go through to paint. Now Connor's still working on the 50-ton bucket. He's got the floor and the side pieces in now. He's now in the process of welding them up. Customers supplying us with some new teeth and side cutters on that. And then there's some wear bars to go on. So there's quite a bit still to do on that, but Connor's cracking on with that. So this is a sight bank that's going to the show. We've changed the design on the door. So this is the door that we've had on the others, but we've now changed the design, and it's now going to be a folded piece of steel. Before we had a box section frame and then clad it in steel. We've now done a fully folded door, and we've also ordered some door runner gear to go along the top. We'd fabricated and machined our own, but it's not worked as well as we wanted. The door can be a little bit heavy to open and close. So we've actually bought some proper door runner gear that you would have in like a barn door, and we're going to utilise that on here with a folded door, folded and fabricated door, and that's some of the changes we've made on this. This is one of those projects that we want to get it right for the show, and we're tweaking and changing it as we go, and I still think after that there'll still be some tweaks and changes. It's all about making it a better product, making it easier to make. Cheers, Steve. Yeah, making it a better product, easier to make, and something that we can replicate on and on and on. We want it so that you can make 10 doors, 10 sight banks, and all of them all fit together. And the way that they were made before and that, they were becoming a little bit bespoke to make it all fit together. So we're just streamlining it and improving it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have that nailed now. So this is the drawer sections that are going to be put into final assembly. Stuart's already bought one through today. He's just emptying the drawers out. This is what we had in there before, just full of nuts and bolts and different bits and pieces. So those racks over there are the ones that are going to go next door. As I say, three together, and that will release one of the welding curtains that we can utilise somewhere else. And also, because it's a physical barrier, the actual boundary line between fabrication and actual final assembly and that will actually be fixed, because nobody's going to move them once they've got anything on there. So that's a result. What we got going on in here? So Colin's cutting at the minute for the Cayman Islands Trommel.
What we've got, traditional trommel, which is this section here.
He's cutting for that. He's got 2 or 3 days cutting on that. So we've got a conveyor section there. Colin's trying to cut ahead, but we're going to start doing the conveyors first. They're going to be folded and started to be fabricated this week and starting to be put together. So as I said last week, what we're trying to do, instead of doing lots of things that all come together at the end, we're trying to do a conveyor, get everything done for a conveyor, put it to one side, everything done for the next conveyor, put it to one side, and it all comes together at the end. So we're trying to work a little bit smarter so that we can start and finish jobs a bit quicker. Cut of art is working flat out at the minute. I know somebody put in one of the comments the other day in that about having a second one, but I did say in there about cultivar at the minute is enough to keep up with production. If we went to more fabricators in the workshop, we might need to go to another one, but I think we've got a lot of efficiencies that we can use to keep that busier and keep up with more fabricators next door. We are actually looking for another fabricator and another engineering operative at the minute. Job adverts are probably going to go out this week for that because we just need more people. And that is about it in here. So the stores area is slowly taking shape. The shelves look full and we've still got pallets of stuff still to be put away, but you'll find that stuff does tend to get put away and we'll create the space for it. Now, we used to have, until this morning, until we decided in a meeting this morning, all the batteries and the chargers in here, which sort of made sense because the Milwaukee battery chargers, historically, when they're in the main workshop, the dust seems to get in there, all the grinding dust and everything, and they do eventually blow up. So we moved them in here to get out of that environment. But actually, in doing so, what we've done is we've made it so that the batteries and the chargers are all out here. Well, all the work happens in there. So we actually need the battery chargers and the batteries in there. As we're wasting time coming and fetching batteries, putting stuff on charge. And what you find is that people naturally don't bring the batteries back and put them on charge. They will leave them in there. They'll probably come in here and pick up 2 or 3 full batteries, go and work in there, and then you end up with flat batteries everywhere, and it's just not ideal. So we've moved the battery chargers and the batteries into the main workshop in a central point between the final assembly and the fabricators, so everybody can get to it. And then we're sort of collecting all the other power tools and everything else and putting it all in one central place so that it's accessible to everybody. Now, if you're looking at nicking stuff from us, don't listen to what I've just said in the last 30 seconds because that's not where we keep it. All right. Now, if you watched last week's episode, and that I said about how the work ethic of people had changed in my 20 or 30 years in the trade, how things had changed. And looking through the comments at the weekend, a lot of people had obviously felt the same. A lot of people were saying, yeah, you're right, really, and that is, things have changed. And there was one guy that said it changed in the mid-90s. Well, I left school in 95, and I've noticed it since then. So I think he was right. But it is interesting to see that how the work ethic in people has changed, and it'll be interesting to see how that translates into the next 20 years. I think if I was going to be a little bit optimistic, I'd say that in the last 20 to 30 years, there's been a lot of drive in youngsters to go to university or higher education, and the sort of education that doesn't bring people into this trade or the more manual trades. I think we're going to see something change in the next 5 years because the people that left school 20 years ago and went into a more sort of office-based role, I think AI is going to change the landscape in that, but AI is not going to change the landscape in this. And I think there will be, this is me being optimistic, I think there will be an influx of people wanting to come into the manual trades because the things are going to change. AI is going to take up a lot of jobs in offices, and AI can already do certain things. For instance, if we wanted AI to edit our videos here, I think it's possible, or it's not far off. We'll never do that because I've got Adam behind the camera raising his eyebrows. He's obviously worried about who's going to be here in 5 years' time. I don't think that's the answer in some respects, but you get my point that AI is going to replace a lot of jobs. It's never going to replace the manual jobs. AI is never going to come and repair a burst pipe in your house or put a new plug socket in your house or start welding here. I think there'll be advances in technology that will make life easier, and robotic welders already exist. CNC plasma cutters, CNC brake presses, the technology's there to help us, but I think in this trade there'll always be a degree of people involved in it and manual work, but it'll be interesting to see whether the shift in attitude of youngsters nowadays coming into the trade changes to what it currently is, or the trend of it currently is now, and changes where they do actually get that work ethic back.
Hi, so it's Tuesday, we're back at the 3D printer and it's been a while, but Gavin actually have asked me to make some parts for the yard to make their lives easier with organising these new stores. So what I've got is these down here. They don't look like much, but they're actually quite clever. So this little slot here takes the Milwaukee batteries. You can plop them in and out. What we'll do, we'll fix these to the wall, and then where it says yard here, when the boys take it on site, they just swap them around, and it says it's in the van. So there's nobody looking for a rogue battery that isn't where it's supposed to be. And that's the start, but in here, I've made some for the smaller batteries as well, and the same principle. Take that and do that with this as well. So that's the goal. Let's have a look in the yard and see how it's going to finish up. So Stuart made this. He's made a board. Still got some more to go on the bottom, and those ones we just looked at on the 3D printer. The plan is to put them sort of here and have those little tags just above it or just below it. So that's the goal. But I'm pretty happy with how it's come out. It looks quite smart. And like I said, the boys can swap them around. We know what's in the yard, what's not in the yard. I think the goal with Archie as well is to make a load of fixings for the actual drill bits. Not drill bits, the actual drills. So yeah, pretty good.
Moving on from what George just said, I'm now working on this secret project, which is a very small, as you can tell, wash trommel. Currently in fabrication stage. I'm the only one working on it just because of the size of it. It doesn't need 2 people. So yeah, just getting panels to fit at the moment. A little bit of fettling fabrication just to get things to fit properly. And then it'll be up and running soon, hopefully, and we can test it. And then proof of concept will work, hopefully. Yeah.
So we've had a few issues with the brake press this afternoon. Adam's took some footage of us sort of playing around with it. We've got an issue with it not folding straight. It would fold to 90 degrees this end, but then the other end here, we had something like 94. It was about 4 degrees out. So instead of it all coming up together, it got a very slight sort of twist as it goes through. Now on the brake press, obviously that's not what you want. You want it to come down nice and level. So there's a few things that you can do. And the problem that we have here is that multiple people use the brake press. So you will go to it and think that everything's all right, and it's not. It's probably the one thing in the workshop that probably does need a single operator who is responsible for it. But what you tend to find is the bottom dies, these are actually, you can actually turn these over. So you've got 4 V's that you can go into, and depending on the thickness of material, obviously if it's really thick material or thicker material, you want a wider V, because actually what you're trying to do is force the material down between 2 fixed points. So if you could imagine you got some thick material and you had it really close together, you'd need a lot of pressure to fold it in there. So we have wider V's for different thickness material, which is why we've got 4 different V's on there, and then we've also got some tooling with a 63mm bottom V. Sometimes we could do with an 80 or 100 when we're bending some thicker stuff. But these blocks obviously sit on this bottom bar here, and if you get any dirt underneath those dies, they can lift the dies up. So then when you fold, you can overfold one end, and sometimes you can get dirt and stuff on here. In fact, if you can zoom in here, Adam, if you look in the bottom of there, you can just make out all that. That's all mill scale off of a bit of plate, that is. So as you fold it, that comes off the plate and sits in the bottom V. And then obviously if you've got a bottom V with material in the bottom, as you then force the material down in the top, it can't bottom out, which means that you end up underfolding it because it doesn't go in deep enough. So there's a lot of maintenance issues that you have to do as you're using it. You can also have bits stuck on there as well. So really after you've done a few folds, you need to wipe it all down, brush it down or whatever, and just keep on top of it. Sometimes these are in, I think it's 865 mil that you buy these in, and we've also got some smaller sections, so if we needed to fold a smaller box, we can do. You can put the individual sections in, but you have 4 of these in there. It's not one complete length, but sometimes on the join you can have a very slight tweak in it, and that affects the fold quality as well. So that's what we've been doing this afternoon, just sorting them out, just making sure that it folded right, and it went from sort of being 4 degrees out to being pretty much bang on, so that's what we want.
Wednesday morning at 10:22. Back again in a noisy workshop, Connor's over there. And I've not been here so far this week, it's my first day back. Got Rob looking a bit strange in the background. But this is what he's been fabricating. So this is the drum for the secret trommel project. So, very small, very light. Rob is about to have a look for the meshes now on the racking. So just to make sure they all fit up all right. And then I believe this is ready to go through to paint. So I think we're just going to plan on painting this all solid blue, for instance, just so it's a bit weather protected. And then it's, sorry, a little bit of hiccups, had a fizzy drink a second ago. Then it's a case of getting all the parts together and getting them ready so they can be assembled. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this. If I take you over here, we'll go around this way. We've got Connor in his welding bay. Now he is currently welding or tacking on some of the edge protectors for this bucket. So either side of this bucket there is a 20mm strip running the whole way sort of down, just to give this edge here, so you can see here how this edge has rolled over. Now we want that to be a nice solid chunky edge because that is going to be a point of failure. So we're reinforcing that with this 20x80 solid bar. Connor's going to be welding that on in a minute, in a little bit. We've got that side and this side to put on. And then it's going to be a case of cutting the middle of the teeth off. And I've been told they might be in today. So hopefully we'll be able to get a fair bit of welding done today. Over here, you can see, I think Gav may have mentioned this before. This is the nut and bolt racking that we previously used. This is going to be sort of moved up here a little bit. And this will act as a bit of a barrier between the final assembly and the welding area. So Rob will be backing up to this. I think he's probably going to put some shelves on the back of this, so he's got some space to work off of. Yeah, this is going to get slimmed down, only keep what we need, and then the lads have got an assortment of some of the nuts and bolts where they want them, so they're not having to walk all the way into their main workshop, into the main store, sorry, to get their nuts and bolts. Just over here, Jamie is about to be assembling a screen box for an E21C. So the conveyor is just finishing off drying for paint now. That might come in here this afternoon. So the paint is very good at drying fast. So that might come in here this afternoon depending on how it sort of sets. But we're definitely going to get a screen box in here now, get the motor on, get the roster units on, get the meshes on, get all of that sort of fun stuff sorted. That can then go back outside until the conveyor is in. But yeah, the workshop is looking a lot tidier now, which is good. As if by magic, the screen box is here on trestles. So these are the same trestles that the lads use to paint on. So when they're not being painted on, they can put these rubber caps, which is the exact same rubber caps we put on top of these screen decks. Sort of the T-bar of the screen deck to stop the meshes from wobbling. We put that over the top of these trestles so that they can be used as well for this application. So because it's rubber, it's very grippy, not going to wobble off. Whereas with the just bare metal, we grind that to a point as well, so that when the material is touching there for paint, it doesn't sort of scratch. There's not a big thick line, it's just that really thin line that gets painted over. So yeah, pretty good bit of kit, so it saves us having double of everything and stuff getting in the way. So yeah, Jamie's just brought that in, about to bring in some more pallets for the parts that are attached to this. Yeah, that'd be a good one to get assembled today. What we've got a load of plates here. Two different job cards, sorry. Yeah. So we've got one drawing like so. So if you find me all the plates, so we want, you got a notepad and pen or something?
I don't.
That's fine, I'll do it on this. I want times one plate, so one bit, so that's 600 by 650. I want times 220 by 600 times 1, 220 by 650. If you can find me those 4 plates, sorry. Yeah, so if you can get me them, I just need to go check with Gav to get another drawing of the second job. But the first job should be fine. You just do that. If you get them, then give me or Steve a shout. We'll get it tacked up, double check it with you, then you can weld it up. Yeah? Golden. I'll have a look at this. Thank you. I have just shown George which parts he needs to get for one of the jobs. So one of our very regular customers, local, well, their branch is local, but it's a national construction company. So they have their own plant machinery, they have their own employees sort of building the houses and whatnot. Excuse me, just dropped a pen. They placed an order, I think it's like a diesel tank sort of cover thing. So they placed one a little while ago as well. So they placed one order and then they've doubled it up, but slightly different. However, the job card isn't reading quite right how I understood it from what I've been told. So I'm just going to double check in the office now, so after we finish filming this at least, for some more clarification and make sure I've definitely got the right information on the job card so that we don't have the same things cut twice, essentially. If I take you through over here, we've got Steve, who is finishing off the site bank door. So we've made the modification to the site bank door, sort of new design, midway through this, but so far, so good. It seems to be better from what I can see at least. What do you reckon, Steve? A bit better?
Getting there.
It's getting there. So, yeah, not much left on this. Hopefully, we get that out of the fabrication side of the workshop today and get that painted. Leading over this way, the big bucket is no longer here. I'll take you through to the little workshop where Connor is in a minute and show you what he's doing. Just here, we've got Rob, who is finishing off the tail roller for a E21C. So that is the same screen, same machine that Jamie and Stuart are assembling now. So if the shaker deck, you can see the top mesh. We've got a 30mm and a 15mm piano mesh in this. This is just a demonstration for the show to show what we're capable of. They've got the roster units on, they've got the motor on underneath. So the meshes are on, the tension bars are still yet to go in. No, tension bars are in, they just need tensioning up fully. We've got the, what are they called, greedy boards to go on. And then we're about done for the screen box. So later on, Jamie and Stuart will be getting the conveyor assembled in here. They'll just move this screen box back a little bit and then get the conveyor inside here. If I take you outside, well, this is going to get quite noisy, I think. I'll just stand in here for a second. Connor is currently air out gouging. So for those of you that don't know what air out gouging is, it's a little bit like stick welding, but in reverse. So it blasts the material away as opposed to putting more material in. So Connor is currently cutting the middle wear blocks between the teeth. Well, no, to be fair, I think he's done that actually. Yeah, Connor has done that. He's already cut the middle wear blocks. And now, hopefully you can still hear me, Connor is now prepping for his weld. So it's a lot faster and can be a lot cleaner when it's done right. So yeah, Connor is currently gouging out, so he's beveling out for where he's going to be laying his welds. And if I now take you inside from getting out of the bad weather, this is the mini wash trommel, the secret wash trommel, all done. You can see the mesh is now in the trommel drum there. We're just waiting on some parts to come in, but in the meantime, we're going to get it painted. So it's all going solid blue, Spitfire blue. Wait for the wheels to come in, and then we are all tickety-boo with this. We've got a few more panels in here, which is the conveyor, which is going to be coming out to be assembled. That's what Jamie and Stuart are going to do. So yeah, bit clearer out here. We've got the site bank, which has been moved out the way. So that was in the way of the little workshop that is now out of the way. And just here, we have had the material arrive to fill this site bank. So we've got all the cement and sand ready to go in the site bank.
So just been up to the office to speak to Gav. I don't know, sort of organising with Adam. Just spoke to Gav in the office because he was the one that took the order while some of the other team were away. All good, job card is right. It was just sort of explained to me a little bit strange. So fully understood. Now everything's okay with George cracking on. He knows what he's doing. So we'll catch up in a little bit, probably when they're about done, to be honest. So yeah, all sorted.
So in George's welding bay now, he has fully fabricated one of these boxes and he's started fabricating the second one. So just show you a little bit about what it is. It's not much. So George has finished off, finished off the first one. Got a little bit of tidying up to do, a little bit of grinding. Yeah, he's currently prepping for the second one now, then welding afterwards.
Wednesday afternoon and I'm back in the black deal machine. Finally got my car back. Now, if you're a regular viewer, you know that my car and me this year has got a bit of a love-hate relationship. Well, Land Rover, I've also got a love-hate relationship with them. I won't bore you with the details of how I've ended up here this afternoon, but one thing I haven't told you yet is last week they said, oh, we fixed your car, and because I've had so much trouble, they've done a free complimentary service, but they rang up last week and said, bit of a problem, road tested your car and we've got a chip in the windscreen. Would you be so kind as to put it through your insurance? Yeah, okay, fair enough. So I ended up paying the 350 quid excess on the basis that when I come and pick my car up, they'd put the money back on the card. Now, this is a bit of a rant. I know I don't do rants, but keep you up to date with where we are. So I said, yeah, okay, fine. So we sorted all that out. And then I've turned up to pick my car up this afternoon and they can't put the money back on my card. I've got to fill a form in and they're going to put it straight back in the account. And I said, if I was here with a car service, would you let me take my car away on the promise that I would pay you tomorrow? They went, oh no, I wouldn't do that. So why is this any different? Why have I got to flex and expect you to do it tomorrow? Because you fill a piece of paper in, that falls down behind somebody's desk. I'm there tomorrow wondering what's going on. I'm on the phone, chasing round, talking to people that don't know anything about it. It's just got nightmare written all over it for me. So I've proper kicked off in there, but apparently they can't do a refund because of money laundering and they're quite adamant it's not going to happen. So I ended up reluctantly filling the form in, so hopefully that's going to turn up tomorrow. And then I've asked for the paperwork for the service. That come out in bits and bobs, and now it's come out. And on the service paperwork, everything's green apparently, everything's fine, but it doesn't say how much brake pad. There's a box on the form, on the piece of paper here, you can see there's boxes on there that say what the brake shoe or pad wear should be and what my tread depths are. Nothing. I'm not actually convinced they've done anything apart from change the oil in it. And that's supposed to be the next service, good for the next 20,000 miles. Seriously not impressed with this lot. And it just seems that wherever you go, car dealerships these days and that, they couldn't give a monkeys. They couldn't give a toss about you as the customer. And, you know, you think Land Rover, it's a bit of a premium brand and they'd sort of make you feel a bit special. Now I feel like a peasant coming in here, to be honest. Sick to death of the lot of them. And then to top it off, just look down, there's no sodding diesel in the thing. I left this with a third of tank of diesel, and now I'm going to have to go and fill it up on the way home.
Hi, I'm Georgina. I'm the sales executive on the business here at Spitfire Engineering. I've been away for a couple of weeks and I've come back this week. Things are really busy, catching up on all our inquiries from our Facebook advertisements for our E21s. Just to let you know, we've got an E21C here in the yard ready. If you want to come along, see the quality of the build and bring some material and have a demo, just give us a call, that's no problem. We've had a couple of great meetings this week already about some big bespoke solutions. And we're getting ready here for Spitfire for Plant Works.
Hi, I think George has just filled you in on quite a lot of things that are going on in the office at the moment with the sales team. We are really busy, and that's always a good thing. There's always capacity to take in more sales though, so give us a call. The number will always be online. Adam will put it in here somewhere. I am also just back from a little trip. I went to Orlando for my other business, which is the travel business that I run. And then I went to a bit of a bougie place called Anna Maria Island. Look it up, and if you want to stay there, give us a call. That's my side hustle covered. Yeah, we are really busy. Plant works is our main focus at the moment. So there are a lot of the team going. Adam's going. George is going to be there for 3 days. George Moore, the CAD designer, is going to be there. Archie's going to be there. Alicia's going to be there. And of course, Gavin and I are going to be there. We're only there on the 23rd of September though. So if you want to see Gavin, come on the 23rd of September, which is the first day. And it's free to attend. Why not come?
So, welcome back to the workshop. Brand new day. George is in this bay, or he was in this bay. Him and Steve are working on the drum. He's got some bits down here that he's ground out. In this bay here, Steve's got the drum rings. Got one sealed under here. He's sorting them out. You come down this way. Connor's on top of the bucket there, fixing it, welding some side plates into it. I'm in this bay here. I'm currently making the oversized conveyor. So you can see I've got 2 completed sections for one conveyor. I'm working on the next bit. All my parts, all my tools, and then follow me this way. The walkway has moved now, so we have to come this way. So down here, what was, we have flavour trailer being worked on, final touches. E21 for a show being assembled, and then outside somewhere, I don't know where it's been put, there is a sight bank over there. So this is the new iteration of the sight bank. As of current, it's finished. The door is on the floor ready for paint. The frame is ready for concreting, which is being done today I believe. And yeah, that's just a quick roundup of what's going on.
I feel like a shopkeeper in here, stood behind my counter. This is the goods inwards for the new stores, but you couldn't get in here because there's pallets down here, but I'm sure it won't last that forever. This week's fun fact. Back on trains again, in a very loose way, regarding the Channel Tunnel. Now, we have done fun facts on the Channel Tunnel before, but this one is an engineering fact. So, the Channel Tunnel is on a very slight curve. And I don't mean that way, and I'm not sure we mean that way. I think we actually mean that way, a bit of a left and right curve. I think that's what it means. Now, there's 2 reasons why they did that. One is because of the geology under the seabed. I'm assuming that they've done drills from above to actually work out what's going on under the seabed. I'm assuming that's what they did. And there's different materials under the sea. You might have some chalk, you might have some clay and all that sort of stuff. And they've obviously had to tunnel through this and try and keep the water out. So they put the curve in because of the underground geology, but also they put it in to reduce the stress from the ground pressures outside the tunnel. What always amazes me with facts like this is, who works this out? Because how on earth do you experiment to see if you're right? That's some seriously clever people that have thought that that could be an issue and are convinced that this is the solution to that. And actually, when it gets put into practice, it actually works out okay. Because on things like the Channel Tunnel, you can't really have a practice at it. You've got to go for it. So to highlight that being a potential issue and then overcoming the issue and it actually working, That's seriously interesting and quite good how they can do that. So that's it for this week from my shop. I'll see you next week. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. We'll see you next week. Okay, welcome back to episode 67 this week. We've got quite a bit going on in the workshop. So let's run you through what we're up to. That sounds really lame, that does.
How did I start the last bit? Oh, yeah. Moving on from what George just said.